From 9 News, this is your news today.
Morning everyone, this is your news today, streaming on 9 Now and YouTube. Escalating conflicts, Houthi rebels strike Iran and further US troops enter the region. Plus, coffee crisis, why Aussies are up in arms over the brew's latest price jump. And getting Easter ready, see how one man's love for a cream egg goes skin deep.
We'll take you straight to the fuel crisis, though, with the Prime Minister meeting with state and territory leaders today as he desperately tries to avoid rationing. Let's go live to Conor McGovern at Parliament House. Good morning to you, Conor.
Good morning, Sarah. Voluntary measures to keep our fuel flowing are top of the agenda this morning. That includes potentially asking people to cut back on their travel on the eve of Easter holidays, while also pushing working from home. The Prime Minister, state premiers and territory leaders will likely discuss rationing later this morning, but that's only a worst-case scenario. Meanwhile, a new poll shows most voters blame Donald Trump for the petrol price surge. 3 of every 5 respondents say the US president, he's behind cost increases. Just 14% blame our government. In less welcome news for Labor though, Sarah, another poll, news poll, showing this morning support for the party is at its lowest since last year's election.
Conor, thank you.
Ukraine's president says he's 100% confident Russia is sharing intelligence with Iran to help them target US forces across the Middle East. In an interview with NBC News, Volodymyr Zelensky said Russia had taken satellite images of a US airbase in Saudi Arabia 3 times in the lead-up to an attack by Iran last week. As America reaches 1 month of war with Iran, this morning the Pentagon is preparing for weeks of ground operations. Lauren Tomasi is in Washington, D.C. Lauren.
Carl, boots on the ground would be a major escalation in this war, but ultimately it needs to be ordered and signed off by Donald Trump. That hasn't happened at this stage, but certainly America is deploying more and more assets to the region. In the past hours, the USS Tripoli has just arrived to the Middle East, and it is carrying some 3,500 troops on board. As all of this is being weighed up by the United States, Iran issuing a grave warning this morning, a very ominous threat, saying that if a ground invasion happens, then it will rain fire on US troops and punish US partners. Carl.
Lauren, thank you. Tens of thousands of faithful have gathered at St Peter's Square in Rome for a solemn Palm Sunday service led by Pope Leo. Addressing the crowd, the pontiff said God is the King of peace and doesn't listen to the prayers of those who wage war. Leaders on all sides of the Iran conflict have used religion to justify their actions.
Counter-terrorism police have joined an investigation after a car drove into a crowd of revellers in central England. Let's go live to Josh Babbis in London with more.
Well, Sarah, 7 people were hospitalised and a number of others received minor injuries after a Suzuki Swift ploughed into a crowd of revellers in Derby City on Saturday night. Witnesses described a horrific scene, seeing people lying on the ground injured and in shock. Counter-terrorism police are assisting with inquiries, but investigators are keeping an open mind into a cause or motive. The 36-year-old driver has been arrested on suspicion of attempted murder. Witnesses helped police to track the driver down on the other side of town within 10 minutes. Sarah?
Josh, thank you. A Western Sydney mayor is calling for a nationwide e-bike ban for under-16s to ensure there is no confusion across different states. Fairfield's Frank Carbone has warned there could be more deaths and injuries if governments didn't act. He also expressed concerns that teen gangs who use the bikes to move around were escaping police punishment. 6 sailors have been charged, accused of attempting to import drugs into Australia after a Mayday call saw water police escort them into Sydney Harbour. A search of the vessel by Border Force found hidden compartments, which they allege was used to conceal 1 tonne of cocaine. Before arriving in Australia, almost 5 tonnes of the drug was confiscated by the French Navy and thrown overboard.
School principals across the country are fearing for their lives with an increase in violence across each state. New data shows physical violence has soared since 2011, jumping nearly 150% in the ACT. Some schools have restricted parent access to drop-off and pick-up zones to limit the dangerous behaviour. Out-of-control hoons have swarmed Brisbane's gateway, ramming a police dog squad car in the process. Let's go live to Andrea Crothers in Brisbane. Andrea.
Good morning, Carl. Well, police say one man has been arrested and they have more in their sights. Take a look at this. You can see cars swarming Brisbane's Gateway Motorway Bridge in the early hours of Sunday morning doing burnouts. Police say in the process of that, one vehicle, a red Holden ute, then allegedly reversed into a dog squad vehicle. An officer and animal were inside. Incredibly, neither of them were hurt. That vehicle was actually earlier involved in Eagle Farm business where it had tried to force its way in. Since then, police have charged a 31-year-old man allegedly behind the wheel of another vehicle involved in that hooning incident. He's due to face court today, Carl.
Andrea, thank you. The final preparations are underway for NASA's historic mission to the moon. 4 astronauts, including the first woman and first black astronaut, are set to blast off to the dark side of the moon as early as Wednesday. They are currently in quarantine at the Kennedy Space Centre and shared their excitement ahead of the launch.
It is our strong hope that this mission is the start of an era where every person on Earth can look at the moon and think of it as also a destination.
This is a live look of the rocket at the Kennedy Space Centre in Florida, which will take the 4 astronauts on a 10-day flight around the moon, paving the way for a moon landing. 50 years in the making.
Tottenham has dismissed its third manager in 9 months, with Igor Tudor leaving his role as interim head coach after just 44 days and 7 matches in charge. The decision comes a week after a damaging 3-0 loss to Tottenham Forest. The result has left Spurs sitting 17th on the ladder, just 1 point above the relegation zone, with 7 games remaining in their season. Well, footy fans should be so lucky to get a ticket to this year's AFL Grand Final because Kylie Minogue has been confirmed as the pre-game entertainment. Live to Christina Hearn at the MCG.
Jane, Kylie Minogue has been on the AFL's wish list for years, but finally they have secured the pop princess. As for Kylie Minogue herself, she says as a Melburnian, she is so excited to be coming home and performing on the biggest day of the Aussie sporting calendar. Now, entertainment at the AFL Grand Final normally divides footy fans like Snoop Dogg last year, but Kylie Minogue, as we know, is universally loved. So the league shouldn't be having any problem this time round. Jane.
No complaints from me, Christine. Thank you. A man has taken aim at a cafe owner over the rising price of coffee. She couldn't believe the backlash taken to social media to air out her grievances over his complaint. His usual order, an extra hot medium flat white, went up from $5 to $5.80.
Make it for him. Comes back an hour later, he says, "You're not going to like what I have to say to you." And I was like, oh God, like, did I up his coffee? Like, anyway, and then he just starts laying into me about our price increase.
The owner said factors beyond her control have led to the unwelcome price hike.
Chill out, bro.
It's going to get a bit ugly out there, isn't it?
It sure is.
Well, before we get the weather, a man has prepared for Easter with a new system imprinted on his arm. Instead of scanning the barcode of a Cadbury cream egg from the product itself, he has instead tattooed it on his arm.
So clever.
I don't know about that.
He says he got the idea from his days on the checkout and always remembers those specific chocolate eggs were notoriously hard to scan. Some people online couldn't understand it. One Instagram user saying there's no advantage to this whatsoever.
No, there is not. He scans it, but where's the egg? What's the point?
No, we're smart people.
Ah, the human race.
Convenience people. Let's take a look at the weather across the country. I do like those eggs, by the way.
They're delicious.
A partly cloudy Monday ahead for Brisbane and Sydney. Some early fog clearing for a lovely day in the nation's capital.
Fine conditions are expected for Melbourne and Adelaide, while Hobart will be cloudy and Perth will be a bit wet.